The Arizona Supreme Court rules a Civil War-era law banning nearly all abortions can be enforced. And Toyota announces a major change to its 4Runner SUV. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Today is Wednesday, April 10th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. Arizona has become the latest state to ban abortion at all stages of pregnancy after the state Supreme Court ruled an 1864 law criminalizing abortion is enforceable. The court's 4-2 ruling Tuesday says all abortions are illegal except those necessary to save a woman's life. Under the law, doctors or anyone who assists in an abortion faces a sentence of 2 to 5 years in prison. The court saying additional sanctions may apply for abortions performed after 15 weeks. The law does not provide any exceptions for rape or incest, as bans in other states have allowed. The Arizona Supreme Court putting its decision on hold for 14 days for a lower court to consider, quote, additional constitutional challenges. Democrats have blasted the ruling, including the state's Attorney General Kris Mayes saying she would not enforce the law, and President Joe Biden calling the ban cruel. Vice President Kamala Harris says she will visit Arizona on Friday. In response to the decision, a spokesperson for former President Donald Trump, the presumptive GOP candidate for the 2024 election, referred to Trump's comment on abortion earlier this week that these decisions should be left to the states. A Missouri man was executed Tuesday for killing his cousin and her husband nearly 20 years ago, despite calls from the prison staff to stop the execution. In a letter to the governor, prison staff called Brian Dorsey a model inmate and asked for a life sentence. The governor denied the request, and hours before the execution, the Supreme Court rejected Dorsey's final appeals. It was the first prisoner execution in Missouri this year. The case raised concerns about the state's execution method, a single-dose injection that doesn't use anesthetics. However, a settlement was reached this weekend where the state agreed to take measures to reduce the risk of severe pain. A spokesperson for the Missouri Department of Correction saying the procedure went smoothly. In a new interview released Tuesday, President Biden furthered his criticism of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's approach to the war in Gaza, calling it a mistake. The interview with Univision was recorded last Wednesday, just 2 days after an Israeli strike killed 7 World Central Kitchen workers who were providing humanitarian aid to the people living in Gaza.
I think what he's doing is a mistake. I don't agree with his approach. I think it's outrageous that those 3 vehicles were hit by drones and taken out on a highway where it wasn't like it was along the shore. It wasn't like there was a convoy moving there, etc. So what I'm calling for is for the Israelis to just call for a ceasefire, allow for the next 6-8 weeks total access to all food and medicine going into the country.
In past statements, Biden has called Israel's operations over the top and last week warned Netanyahu the U.S. may change its policies toward Israel unless Israel reduced harm to civilians in Gaza. Amid its inquiry into the strike that killed the aid workers, Israel found serious errors by its military, dismissing 2 senior officers. Netanyahu confirmed this week their military would carry out an operation in the city of Rafah, a move Biden has also said he is against. President Joe Biden greeted Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida at the White House on Tuesday ahead of the state visit today. The 2 leaders are set to unveil an expanded defense and intelligence partnership, signaling a major boost in military cooperation between the 2 countries. Biden and Kishida plan to modernize military compounds in Japan to improve joint operations. Japan currently houses some 50,000 American troops. The two leaders are also expected to announce plans for a joint lunar space mission. On Thursday, the U.S., Japan, and the Philippines will hold a trilateral summit at the White House, aiming to emphasize global unity and focusing on China amid tensions in the Pacific. Toyota is making some major changes to its 4Runner SUV for the first time in nearly 15 years. One of the biggest changes is the addition of a hybrid engine. The available option on the 2025 model comes as hybrids have grown in popularity. Edmunds.com reports market shares of hybrids grew to nearly 10% at the end of 2023, up from nearly 5% just a year before. Last week, Toyota reported a 20% rise in first quarter auto sales in the U.S., with sales of electrified vehicles, including hybrids and EVs, rising about 74%. Toyota says it has sold over 3 million 4Runners in the SUV's 40-year history. Pricing for the 2025 model will be announced closer to its on-sale date later this year. Finally this morning, with the college basketball season coming to an end this week, so has the career of a legendary figure in the sport. Stanford's head coach, Tara VanDerveer, has announced she will be retiring after 45 years, 38 of those leading Stanford. VanDerveer is the NCAA's winningest basketball coach of all time, with 1,216 victories. In her time with Stanford, the Hall of Fame coach guided the team to 3 national championships and 14 Final Fours. VanDerveer's retirement comes after a history-making women's tournament, the championship game drawing more viewers than the men's title game for the first time ever, averaging 18.9 million viewers. These are your top stories for this Wednesday. Unbiased, straight facts, that's Straight Arrow News. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great day.